Sometimes the greatest revolutions begin quietly, not with armies or kings, but with ideas that slip into small rooms and slowly conquer the world. Welcome to a story that changed the world. This is not just a business story. This is not just a success story. This is the story of Microsoft, a company that started in a tiny dorm room and became one of the most powerful empires in human history. A story of vision, failure, rejection, obsession, transformation, and ultimate dominance. A story where one young boy decided to dream bigger than anyone else and then actually built it. And today we use his dream every time we open a computer, every time we use Word, PowerPoint, Excel, or Windows. His vision touches every moment, but behind all that technology is a story of struggle, fights, betrayals, genius, and reinvention in today's video. We begin the true story of Microsoft, from a college dropout to the world's richest man, from a tiny software contract to a company worth over $3.8 trillion. This journey inspires everyone. This video is also great for your English learning. We use clear, simple English to help you understand every moment, and you will learn English and success together. So grab your notebook because this isn't just a video. This is a master class in how to think, how to lead, and how to win. Part 1. The boy who fell in love with computers. Before Microsoft became a global empire, there was a boy, not rich, not powerful, not famous, just a boy with glasses, a fast brain, and a deep obsession with computers. His mind ran faster than his world could keep up. That boy's name was William Henry Gates III, known to the world as Bill Gates. He was born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, Washington, USA. His father was a lawyer, very disciplined and strong. His mother was a teacher, warm and smart from a young age. Bill Gates was different. While other kids were playing outside, Bill was reading encyclopedias. He didn't just read stories, he read the dictionary, the World Book, even legal documents for fun. At the age of 7, he was already thinking like an adult. He loved logic, numbers, and solving problems. His curiosity had no limit. At the age of 13, Bill went to a private school called Lakeside. It was expensive, it was elite, and it had something no other school had. A computer terminal? This was the 1960s. Back then, most adults had never even seen a computer. But this school had a deal with a company. The company allowed students to experiment with time on a mainframe computer. And Bill fell in love. He skipped gym class to sit before the glowing screen, typing strange commands, solving problems, breaking things, fixing them. He wasn't alone. There was another boy, Paul Allen. He was 2 years older, more quiet, but equally obsessed. Together, Bill and Paul started hacking into the computer system, not for money, but to learn, to understand, to go deeper. Curiosity overrules fear every time. They were caught and punished by the school, but something amazing happened next. Instead of banning them, the school offered them free computer time in exchange for debugging. And just like that, Bill Gates and Paul Allen got their first real-world programming job as teenagers. Work and passion collided. A seed of destiny was planted. Before Microsoft, they started a small company called Trafo-O-Data. It sounds strange, but it was smart. Cities had machines that counted cars on roads. Bill and Paul wrote software to analyze traffic data and help cities improve road planning. They made a small amount of money, but gained priceless experience. They were still teenagers. While still in school, Bill Gates read an article about the Altair 8800, the first affordable personal computer. Something clicked instantly. He told Paul Allen, "This is it, the future. "We must build software for this." They picked up the phone and called MITS, the company behind Altair. They said they already had software ready, but here's the truth. They hadn't written a single line yet. Still, they got the meeting anyway. They worked nonstop for weeks to build it in time, and when they finally showed it to the company, it worked. Determination turned lies into breakthroughs. MITS bought their software, and that was the beginning. Bill Gates was 19, Paul Allen was 21. They moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where MITS was located. On April 4th, 1975, they officially founded Microsoft, combining micro and software later. They removed the hyphen. Microsoft was born. History quietly shifted inside a rented room. Bill dropped out of Harvard. Yes, he was a Harvard student, one of the most prestigious colleges in the world. But after starting Microsoft, he made a choice. I can always go back to school, but this opportunity won't wait. He dropped out, risking everything, his future, his parents' trust, his education, for one belief. The future of the world will be shaped by software, and he wanted to write that software. A vision louder than tradition, a destiny chosen. Microsoft was now real. Two young boys, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, in a small office in Albuquerque, writing software for the new age of personal computers. They had no office furniture. They ate fast food. They coded 18 to 20 hours a day. Their business wasn't about glamour or design. It was about logic, function, and efficiency. But something else was happening in another part of America, quietly shaping the other side of the revolution. While Microsoft focused on software, in Silicon Valley, a young man named Steve Jobs dreamed differently. He wanted to build the most beautiful personal computer ever made. He teamed up with Steve Wozniak. In 1976, just 1 year after Microsoft was born, Apple Computer was founded in a garage. Different paths, same ambition. Bill Gates was building software. Steve Jobs was building hardware. Both believed the world could be transformed by machines no one else yet understood. And in that tension, software versus hardware, two empires began to rise. One would fight for beauty, the other for dominance. Both would change human history forever. In 1979, Steve Jobs invited Bill Gates to Apple's headquarters. He revealed a secret project, the Apple Lisa, a new computer with graphical interface. Instead of typing commands, you could now click icons with a mouse. Revolutionary? Until then, computers were black screens with green text, lifeless and mechanical. But the Lisa had windows, icons, menus, and folders you could click. Bill Gates was stunned. He saw the future stretching open before him. Apple, confident of their lead, hired Microsoft to build software for Macintosh. Microsoft created Word, Excel, and other programs for the Mac, serving Apple's dream. But secretly, Gates had a plan. He was working on his own operating system, one that would compete with Apple but run on any PC. The system would be called Windows. When Steve Jobs discovered Microsoft's hidden project, he was furious. He called Gates and accused him of stealing Apple's ideas. Gates calmly replied, "Steve, I think it's more like we both had a rich neighbor named Xerox. I broke in, but you stole first." What he meant was simple. Both Apple and Microsoft borrowed ideas from Xerox, the true pioneer of graphical interfaces. Xerox invented it but failed to see value. Jobs took it. Gates took it too. But Gates was strategic. Apple built expensive hardware. Microsoft built software, selling Windows to every computer maker worldwide. That single decision changed history. In 1985, Microsoft launched Windows 1.0. It wasn't perfect, slow, buggy, but it had one thing Apple didn't: open access. Any computer maker, IBM, Dell, Compaq, HP, could install Windows. Just like that, Microsoft became the default software for millions of new PCs across the globe. Windows improved fast. Version 2.0 came in 1987, version 3.0 in 1990, and then Windows 95, a massive breakthrough, arrived like a cultural explosion. Microsoft launched it like a rock concert. They paid $3 million to use the Rolling Stones' Start Me Up. Crowds lined up at midnight. 7 million copies sold in 5 weeks. By 1998, over 90% of the world's computers ran Windows. Apple couldn't compete with that kind of scale. Microsoft wasn't just a company anymore. It was a standard, the software backbone of civilization. Almost every desk, every office, every home relied on it. As Windows spread, Microsoft became a money machine. In 1986, they went public at $21 per share. Within a year, it soared past $100. Bill Gates became the youngest billionaire in history at 31. By the late 1990s, his net worth crossed $100 billion. Wealth beyond imagination. Microsoft now had everything. Windows, MS-DOS, Office Suite with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Internet Explorer, Outlook. They weren't building one product, they were building an ecosystem. But Gates was not soft. His management style was aggressive. In meetings, he grilled employees, used sharp words, demanded long hours. Genius carried iron discipline. He worked 16-hour days and expected the same. He wasn't chasing beauty, he chased logic, function, and dominance. The world depended on what he built. By 1999, Microsoft was worth over $600 billion. Windows ran on 90% of the world's computers. They held a monopoly unlike anything seen before. Part 2. The Fall of a Giant. By the late 1990s, Microsoft was everywhere, a tech empire, unstoppable, but power always paints a target. Windows controlled 90% of computers. Office ruled schools, homes, and companies. Gates was the richest man alive. Revenue crossed $40 billion annually. Market cap soared past $600 billion. But when you grow that big, so does the shadow. Competitors grew angry. Governments asked, is Microsoft too powerful for the world's good? In 1998, the US government filed a lawsuit. The accusation? Microsoft was crushing competition, forcing Windows, killing smaller rivals, giving Internet Explorer free, destroying Netscape, monopoly at work. It wasn't a small case. This became the largest antitrust trial since AT&T's breakup in the 1980s. The stage was set. Microsoft stood accused before the world. Suddenly, Gates, once genius innovator, was painted as ruthless monopolist. His sharp mind became arrogance in the public eye. His reputation began to crack. The biggest mistake came with his video deposition. Recorded testimony meant to defend Microsoft instead destroyed him. Gates appeared angry, sarcastic, defensive, and dismissive. He gave short answers, refused obvious truths, looked arrogant. The public was shocked. Is this how the richest man alive behaves under pressure? The government used the footage as proof. Microsoft lacked humility, responsibility, respect for fair competition. The trial became not just business, but morality before the world. After months, the judge ruled Microsoft should be broken into 2 separate companies, one for Windows, one for everything else. A nuclear verdict. Investors panicked. Tech stocks collapsed. Gates went from hero to villain, from visionary to monopolist. In years, the crown of admiration became a crown of suspicion. But Microsoft didn't quit. They appealed, hired new lawyers, made promises, opened their software for third-party developers. They fought with everything. The empire refused to fall. In 2001, the final decision came. Microsoft would not be broken up, but strict rules were imposed. Power limited, behavior monitored. Survival came with scars. They lived, but the image was damaged. No longer the young startup, now the feared giant. Innovation lost, excitement dimmed. The empire carried weight, not wonder, like learners afraid to make mistakes. Microsoft froze under the world's judgment, once unstoppable, now careful, cautious, and slower. A reminder, size without humility breeds fragility. In January 2000, Bill Gates stepped down as CEO and chose Steve Ballmer, loud, energetic, passionate, but less technical, focused on enterprise growth, sales, expansion. Under Ballmer, Microsoft expanded but made strange decisions. In 2007, Apple launched the iPhone, not just a phone, but a pocket computer, transforming how humans connected and lived. Microsoft had Windows Mobile, but it was clunky and difficult. Despite money and technology, they missed smartphones. Later attempts with Windows Phone failed. Apple and Android dominated. They bought Nokia for $7 billion to enter phones. But Nokia collapsed. Microsoft wrote off billions. A harsh reminder of arrogance and missed timing. The Bing struggle came next. To challenge Google, Microsoft launched Bing, spending billions, yet after years, Bing remained small. Mocked as the browser only used to download Chrome, this proved money and power cannot buy culture or momentum. In life and learning, you cannot force respect. You must create true value that endures. Then came product disasters. Windows XP in 2001 was loved, but Vista in 2007 was heavy, buggy, slow. Users hated it. Microsoft's image was damaged. In 2012, Windows 8 confused people by removing the Start menu. Users were angry. Businesses refused upgrades. Comfort vanished too quickly, leaving frustration, anger, and rejection. Meanwhile, Apple built iPhones, iPads, MacBooks. Google created Gmail, YouTube, Android, Maps. Microsoft became known for slow software, ugly phones, weak innovation. Excitement was disappearing everywhere. The world moved fast. Apple had cool. Google held the future. Amazon built the cloud. Facebook bought tomorrow. Startups rose. Microsoft seemed stuck selling Word and Windows. That's when a man quietly stepped in. Not loud, not flashy, no turtlenecks, not billionaire genius. He was calm, an engineer, a thinker. Satya Nadella. Satya was born Hyderabad, India, 1967. Studied electrical engineering in India, moved to the US, earned master's computer science, later MBA, joined Microsoft 1992, worked silently 2 decades. He led teams, built products, focused on cloud computing, ignored spotlight, pursued improvement. In 2014, he became CEO. Few knew his name, but change arrived quickly. Satya didn't start with products or profits. He started with people. Microsoft was slow, political, divided, full of ego. Leaders feared risk. Teams lacked collaboration. He introduced a philosophy. Don't be a know-it-all. Be a learn-it-all. Engineers heard. Don't protect your product. Fix it. Leaders heard. Solve problems, not promote yourselves. He encouraged humility, empathy, innovation. The invisible culture shift began Microsoft's comeback. Like an English learner shedding fear, Microsoft rediscovered curiosity, hunger, and willingness to grow again. Satya had vision. The future is cloud, not disks, not hardware, but Azure. Amazon Web Services led. But Satya cared less about competition, more about execution. He invested billions building data centers globally, telling businesses, Run your storage, computing, software with us. Companies slowly listened. Azure grew fast, becoming Microsoft's growth engine worldwide. Today, Azure generates tens of billions yearly, nearly rivaling AWS in market share, one of the most profitable, scalable, future-proof businesses in modern technology. Old Microsoft saw threats everywhere. Linux enemy, Android competition, iOS ignored, open source rejected. Nadella reversed it. We're not fighting past. We're serving the future. Bold actions followed. Microsoft joined the Linux Foundation, released software for iOS and Android, made Office for Macs and iPads, supported open source on GitHub. Shocking moves that worked. Developers who once hated Microsoft began trusting again. Instead of selling CDs, Microsoft launched Office 365 subscriptions. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, plus 1 TB cloud storage. The model was genius. Users got constant updates. Microsoft got monthly revenue, creating a sticky ecosystem. People stayed, loyal, comfortable. It was simple. Modern brilliance. In gaming, PlayStation dominated consoles. Xbox trailed. Nadella shifted focus to Game Pass, subscription service for $10.15 monthly. Users played hundreds of games across PC, console, cloud. Microsoft wasn't selling boxes. They sold freedom to play. By 2024, Game Pass had 25 million subscribers. Gaming generated over $16 billion annually. Future secured. During the pandemic, remote work became normal. Online meetings, video calls, collaboration. Microsoft launched Teams, one tool for chat, video, files. Users exploded from 20 million to 280 million. Teams became essential everywhere. Companies, schools, hospitals, governments. Microsoft wasn't just selling software, it was giving the world a digital heartbeat, keeping work, classrooms, and life moving forward. Satya Nadella made bold billion-dollar investments that shocked the world. In 2016, Microsoft bought LinkedIn for $26.2 billion. Everyone questioned why, but it worked. LinkedIn's user base exploded, integrated with Office, Outlook, AI tools. It grew into a $15 billion yearly business. Sometimes risk becomes the door to reinvention. In 2018, Microsoft acquired GitHub for $7.5 billion. Developers doubted, but Microsoft promised support. GitHub grew, and Microsoft's image among coders shifted from enemy to ally. In 2023, Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard for $69 billion, the largest gaming acquisition ever. They gained Call of Duty, Candy Crush, World of Warcraft. Gaming dominance expanded rapidly. Under Satya's leadership, Microsoft's market cap soared from $300 billion to over $3.8 trillion. Stock multiplied more than 10 times in less than 10 years. Azure cloud revenue passed $70 billion annually. Office 365 earned over $50 billion. Gaming generated more than $16 billion. Microsoft was again the world's most valuable company. But beyond numbers, Nadella brought humanity. He spoke about his son Zane, born with cerebral palsy, teaching him empathy, humility, and seeing through others' eyes. He built Microsoft not only on code, but on compassion. Success wasn't just profit, it was care, culture, and connection. Power with empathy lasts longer. Part 3. The future in their hands. By the time the AI revolution made headlines, Microsoft was already there, investing, integrating, building quietly while others debated. AI wasn't a feature for Microsoft. AI was a platform. as big as Windows in the 90s or the internet in the 2000s. In 2019, Microsoft partnered with OpenAI. They invested $1 billion first, then over $10 billion by 2023. They gave cloud power through Azure for training models. In return, Microsoft gained exclusive integration rights. GPT-3, GPT-4, and beyond flowed into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, Edge, Windows. They called it Copilot. Copilot wasn't a boss. It was a second brain. In Word, it summarized documents, rewrote text, brainstormed headlines, fixed grammar, turned notes into reports instantly. Excel transformed. With Copilot, users typed natural requests, sales trends, profit forecasts, and received instant charts, insights, explanations. Beginners used it like experts without learning complex formulas. Outlook grew smarter. Copilot summarized threads, drafted replies, scheduled follow-ups, reduced hours of email to minutes. Time wasted on inboxes became time reclaimed for creation. Teams integrated AI deeply. Automatic transcripts, meeting summaries, action items. Missed meetings became manageable. You could ask, "Who owns the budget?" And Copilot answered immediately. GitHub Copilot revolutionized coding. Millions of developers received real-time code suggestions, bug fixes, best practices. Coding became faster, simpler. Creativity accelerated. Productivity exploded globally. Microsoft embedded AI everywhere. In Windows 11, Bing Search, Edge Browser, Azure Cloud, a full-stack platform, infrastructure, models, tools, delivery. 4 layers united under one empire, while competitors hyped and argued. Microsoft focused on making AI invisible, powerful, useful. Their goal was safe speed, not hype, not panic, practical, ethical adoption. Doctors used AI to summarize records, detect disease early from scans. Lawyers scanned thousands of documents in seconds. Teachers created lesson plans quickly. Students learned faster everywhere. AI amplified humanity. Microsoft's mission became real: empower every person and organization to achieve more. With AI, they weren't chasing the world, they were shaping the future. Education changed. Microsoft Teams for Education connected classrooms in 180 countries. Rural schools gained world-class lessons. Children with chalkboards now studied online with teachers worldwide. Reading progress in Teams tracked fluency, pronunciation, accuracy, helping teachers assist students individually. Even weak internet connections in poor regions enabled equal learning opportunities. Immersive Reader helped dyslexic children, non-native English learners, visually impaired students. Text read aloud, words highlighted, complex language broken down. Learning became inclusive, empowering every child. Healthcare transformed. In India, Microsoft built AI to detect tuberculosis from X-rays, saving thousands of lives where doctors were scarce. In the Philippines, cloud hospitals improved safety during the Ukraine war. Microsoft protected government data, enabled nonprofits, relocated refugees. Not just money, but cloud power, security, infrastructure, a silent force behind humanitarian survival. Agriculture benefited too. In India, Microsoft created AI tools sending farmers daily crop advice, when to plant, what soil needs. Yields rose 30–50%. Small farmers gained hope. Small businesses thrived. Shops used Word for invoices, Excel for costs, PowerPoint for catalogs, Teams for meetings, OneDrive for data. Technology reached hands that once had nothing. Security strengthened. Microsoft blocked billions of cyber attacks daily, protecting governments, Hospitals, banks, AI detected phishing, fake websites, malicious code. Even vaccine research was shielded during pandemics. Accessibility grew. Eye control allowed typing with eyes. Dictation replaced typing. Live captions aided hearing impaired. Seeing AI described the world to blind users. Tech became truly equal. Creativity flourished. Writers used Copilot for books. Designers used AI in PowerPoint and Designer. Gamers created with Game Pass. Artists stored, shared, and showcased work with Microsoft tools. Companies relied on Microsoft deeply. FedEx tracked every package with Azure. NASA used cloud tools for research. Governments ran remote parliaments with Teams. Microsoft became infrastructure for civilization. From classrooms to hospitals, farms to space, Microsoft became invisible but essential. They didn't always shout, but like oxygen, they quietly powered life and progress everywhere. Part 4. The Final Ascent. Microsoft today dominates not through noise or hype, but through intelligence, empathy, vision, and consistent execution across every frontier. By 2025, Microsoft's market capitalization exceeded $3.8 trillion, often switching with Apple or Nvidia as the world's most valuable company. Size alone tells a breathtaking story. Annual revenue surpassed $250 billion, greater than many nations' GDP combined. Azure Cloud delivered $75 billion. Office 365 earned $50 billion. LinkedIn contributed $15 billion. Windows alone added $20 billion. Xbox Gaming crossed $18 billion. Search and advertising delivered $15 billion. Developer tools like GitHub Copilot expanded at lightning speed. Microsoft employed 225,000 people across 190 countries. Over 60 global data regions powered governments, militaries, businesses, and communities. More than 1.5 billion people used Microsoft products. Over 400 million Windows 11 users. More than 90% of Fortune 500 companies used Office 365. Microsoft invested $13 billion in OpenAI, securing dominance globally. But beyond numbers, Microsoft's story became one about human potential. Students in Africa wrote essays with Word. Scientists in Europe simulated breakthroughs on Azure. Doctors in India scanned X-rays with AI. Grandparents in America video called grandchildren on Skype. Developers in Indonesia built apps on GitHub. Human dreams became scalable. Microsoft empowered people quietly, like a good operating system. Invisible but vital. True greatness often works silently, enabling others to shine brighter in the spotlight. Remember where it started? A boy in Seattle? Bill Gates? Skipped gym to sit at a computer terminal. Obsessed with lines of code, alongside Paul Allen. He built software when no one believed in personal computers. They moved from dorm rooms to tiny offices, building Word, Windows, Excel. They didn't just write code, they rewrote modern life. Yet their journey was scarred. Microsoft was sued, hated, mocked for bad products, nearly irrelevant during mobile revolution. But Satya Nadella, a quiet engineer from India, revived humility, empathy, bold vision. He rebuilt Microsoft not with marketing, but with culture, cloud, and care. Few companies returned stronger after decline. Microsoft did. Their legacy became more than technology, it became resilience, reinvention, and relentless vision. Qualities every learner needs today. So what lessons does Microsoft's story leave for you? First, start small, but think big. Bill and Paul began with one contract, one machine. Second, build what's useful. Microsoft created Word, Excel, Teams, Azure, tools the world needed. In your English journey, focus on usefulness, not fancy tricks. Third, be ruthless with vision, but kind with people. Nadella proves strength and kindness can coexist. You can pursue excellence without arrogance or cruelty. Fourth, fail, learn, repeat. Microsoft's mistakes, Vista, Nokia, Bing, didn't end them. They adapted. In learning English, mistakes aren't failure, they're practice. Response matters more than error. Fifth, evolve or die. Microsoft could have faded in smartphones, cloud, or AI. Instead, it evolved. Comfort kills growth. Keep adapting. Keep learning. Stay alive. Sixth, let others win with you. Microsoft built platforms, GitHub, Azure, Game Pass, that helped others thrive. Don't build a throne. Build a stadium for shared victories. This story is not about software, but reminders. The world's biggest companies begin in quiet rooms with ordinary people who refuse to stop dreaming. So if you hold an idea, a vision, or just a whisper that you're meant for more, don't ignore it, build it. Start with what you have. Work with what you know. Believe even when no one else does. Resilience is the true currency of destiny. Microsoft's story continues. With AI models, classrooms, teachers, dreamers, developers. But your story is beginning now. Your empire is the language you build within. From dorm rooms to $3.8 trillion, Microsoft showed greatness can emerge from obsession, courage, and adaptation for you. That greatness may be mastering English. Like, subscribe, and share this journey. And tell me, what dream are you secretly building today? Could it one day change the world?